Today in the show, we get you experts to answer some of the most frequently asked questions by NRIs. Amit Mehta, Advocate High Court, joins us. Amit, thank you very much for joining us. So, I'm going to first ask you that very basic question. NRIs are free to buy anything in Indian market, or there are some restrictions?
NRIs are, there is no restriction on NRIs to buy anything in India, except if you are going to buy agricultural plot or a plantations in India.
Okay.
Other than that, there is no restrictions for NRIs to buy anything in India.
And your description of an NRI is who? I mean, is it really a citizen holding an Indian passport who has moved temporarily? What happens to Indian origin Indians who actually relocate and have become, let's say, a US citizen but still want to buy something in India? Are the rules different for both these categories?
Yeah, the rules are a little different. If you are an NRI, that means if you are a citizen outside India, or if you are a person of Indian origin, that is called a PIO, you may have certain restrictions to invest in India. But ideally, if you can buy a residential property, a commercial property, and it's very free and easy to buy, as any Indian can buy in India also.
Okay. How the payments made or brought into India, that's an important part. I mean, are these through the NRE, NRO account? So in what currency can they bring in the money, and in what currency can they take it out?
Yeah. You can bring the money in the NRE, NRI account, same how you transfer to India in Indian rupees, and you can repatriate back the same amount how much you invested in India. But of course, there are certain regulations and procedures that you have to follow. But that's very simple procedure how you can transfer to India like in any other account.
So are you saying that if I bring my dollars, as soon as they hit my NRE or NRO account, they will get converted into rupee? I buy a property, let's say 7 years later, when I sell it, and if I want to take back the money, I should be allowed to take back in dollars, and that's possible, right?
That's right. It has to be equivalent to the amount you have brought in India. The same amount can be repatriated back outside India. What happens to the
capital gains then? So what happens if the person has made some money? I mean, that's the idea, isn't it? If they're investing, they want to make some money. So what happens if they make money? Capital gains cannot be taken back?
No, there is two parts. One is the short-term capital gain and one is long-term capital gain. In short-term capital gain, you pay about 30% of the amount which you earned, you have to pay as income tax. And in long-term capital gain, you pay about 20% of the tax which you earned here.
But what about the repatriation? I mean, that's what I wanted to understand. After you paid the taxes, can you still repatriate everything, including the capital gains part?
Absolutely. You can repatriate the entire amount back from where you brought it, from outside India.
All right. Are there anything else, or is there anything else that NRIs or PIOs need to keep in mind before buying real estate in India? What are some of the most frequent questions you get?
Yeah, of course, you have to go through the documentation of and the paperwork of the plot or the residential or commercial premises which you are buying. Let's take for example, if the NRI is buying a residential or a commercial property, he has to check out the chain of documents or the chain of agreements which is there with him. You also have to check out the in whose name it stands today. At the same time, you should have a title search or a title certificate done for that particular property. In case of a residential or in case of agricultural or a plantation, you need to see whether there is a mutation entry in the name of the last owner in whose name it stands today. Apart from that, you need to check out that no dues certificate should be taken in either cases, that there is no dues in terms of electricity, in terms of water charges, or in terms of property tax. I think these are some important things that an NRI should look at before he's investing in a property in India.
All right. Finally, power of attorney. A lot of NRIs say that, look, we are not able to come to India and we would like a relative or a friend residing in India to execute that transaction for us. So are there any pros and cons of executing a real estate transaction through a POA?
Yeah, I think you should have a power of attorney given to someone locally here in India, which should be with a specific performance, that means with some limited powers. So example, you can even give it to a developer in the under construction project, where you give a limited power to the developer in case he has to complete certain documentation. At the same time, if you have a relative here in India, I think it's better that you give a registered power of attorney. If you can register here in India, it's fine. Otherwise, you get it attested through the Indian embassy outside India in the country of, from the place of where you're sending the power of attorney.
Amit Mehta, thank you very much for running us through that quick guide for NRIs buying real estate in India. Well, we keep getting a lot of questions, and with the rupee stable, India being one of the fastest growing economies, and more importantly, real estate prices going nowhere over the last 3 years. So you get good deals today. All of these add up to one conclusion, that it's a good time to invest in Indian real estate.